Hello and welcome. Join me as I go used book shopping in 5 different used bookstores and thrift shops in my area in search of hidden book treasures. We're browsing dusty shelves and exploring little corners and seeing what unexpected finds turn up along the way. I've found a mix of classics and vintage editions and more than a few books that I definitely wasn't planning on buying but just couldn't leave behind. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's go book shopping. I loved coming across this shelf with all these Pearl S. Buck books on it. There were 3 different The Good Earth versions on here. We had this small little paperback, and then we also had this one that had a more realistic cover on it. So, really great book. I don't actually have it on my shelf though, but I do have T.H. White's The Once and Future King. This is sort of the end all be all of King Arthur inspired tales. I should have gotten this H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. That mass market paperback is just so beautiful. Speaking of books that I should have brought home with me and didn't, I found Emma's Secret by Barbara Taylor Bradford, and I also found Just Rewards as well. You'll be hearing more about Barbara Taylor Bradford from me, but I did not grab those, and I really wish I did. This book, The Sight, is a really great YA fantasy from anthropomorphized wolves. I have seen so many Jennifer Chiavarini's books. I think they're usually themed with quilts. I also found one over here as well that was really beautiful. I don't think I've read anything by her. If I have, I don't remember, but I keep seeing her out and about, so I'm wondering if I should read any of hers. What do you guys think? What an interesting thing. Oldest Confederate Widow Tells All. That's such an intriguing book title. I love the Philippa Gregory historical fictions. I have not read The White Queen, but I have read a couple of them. The one that comes to mind is The Other Boleyn Girl. I wanted to start this series by Patrick Taylor this past March as an Irish author, but I haven't. Did not get to it, and I'm so bummed about it. Found this beautiful Miss Reed. Lovely. I did find a whole bunch of used Miss Reeds last year, so I did not grab this one because I already had it. I found a lot of Maeve Binchy today, so you'll see that. I also found this MC Beaton. Really loved those covers. I feel like their books are very distinguishable. When you see them, you're like, oh yeah, that's an Agatha Raisin or the like. There's another Barbara Taylor Bradford as well. And then here's another Maeve Binchy. I've actually read all of the Maeve Binchys that I am showing to you, but I don't have them on my shelf. So I do kind of feel like maybe I should get some of these if I want to reread them. I'm just not sure if I will reread them. I loved the color coordination on this shelf. I love to decorate with books, and I love that this thrift store always has this lovely setup. They actually change it for the different seasons. I recently got the Beautiful Day in a Little Free Library signed edition. So, oh, look, you guys, it's the theme of the day. Here's another Barbara Taylor Bradford. This one is an omnibus. It has 3 different books in it. Hold the Dream to Be the Best, and Act of Will. But it's just so big. I love omnibus, but that one is like, I don't know how you hold it to read it. I am not a fan of Normal People by Sally Rooney, sorry to say. I don't know. I'm wondering if that is a controversial opinion or not. This book was a little bit intriguing. A Christmas Carol Murder. I stopped and took a quick break for lunch, had a nice healthy salad, and then I decided to go to an antique place and look for books. So I found this Daddy Longlegs. I love that book. I have a paperback of it. I would have been more tempted, but looked like there was mold on that, so I left it there. We had this huge The Forsyte Saga. That is such a big chunker. I found some lovely Charles Dickens here. We've got Nicholas Nickleby. I just love these old, like, 70s covers. We also had this one, which was a lot of different short stories, I think. Then look at this beautiful A Girl of the Limberlost. I already have at least 2 copies of them and of this book, and so I didn't get it. Also, I'm not a fan of the stickers on the cover. Just I feel like the glue has the potential to ruin the cover. Look at this lovely Donna Parker. I already have quite a few Donna Parkers. And this one was actually not in great condition. The binding was really loose and the plastic cover that they used to glue down was coming off. So I left it there. But do love Donna Parker. I loved this hardcover of Miss Reed Over the Gate. I love this watercolor cover. I love this. Has anyone heard of Taylor Caldwell? This Side of Innocence. Just this cover, for whatever reason, reminds me of Gone with the Wind. I would have actually taken this book with me, but it had some water damage at the bottom and the corners were fraying, and so I left it. If you have not read Rascal by Sterling North, I love this book. It is about a raccoon, just a naughty little raccoon, and it's so great. My kids love it. I highly recommend finding a copy of that and reading it. I loved this beautiful Alfred Hitchcock, but again, the boards were just very loose and fraying at the corners, but so great. Okay, this book, A Blood's More Romance by Joyce Carol Oates, was so tempting. I even looked up on eBay if I could find it. So this copy was $30, which is kind of the struggle with going to an antique place to look for books is you end up with antique prices. But I hemmed and hawed over this book so much because it looked like it would be a really great book to read, just not for $30. I found this lovely Bobbsey Twins book. This was actually in pretty good condition. That would be great for a summer book if you're looking for a summer book. Did I need all of these books? No. But is it fun to do treasure hunting and then sharing with you what I brought home? Yes. So I'll just start with this bag here in front, and I'm just going to pull them out randomly. I shared in April a video about palette cleanser books. So that's books that when you're kind of feeling out of sorts, you're not sure what to pick up next, what are some recommendations? And at that time, I mentioned Mary Higgins Clark. And I had a couple people say that they didn't usually hear about her and also that they had recommendations. Now, I don't specifically remember anyone talking about Let Me Call You Sweetheart as far as like their recommendations, but I did love this beautiful hardcover version, and I figured for $2 I could bring it home and see if it is a book that I want to add to my Mary Higgins Clark section of my bookshelf. From what I can tell, this is the story of a woman who's a prosecutor. She's like bulldog, really good at her job, and her daughter ends up in a car accident and I think needs to have some surgery to kind of help repair some scar tissue and other things. So she's in a plastic surgeon office and she sees a woman with a very recognizable face. She can't quite place it. She goes back again for another procedure with her daughter and sees a different woman with the same face. And she now realizes that that is the face of a woman who was part of what they call sweetheart murders from years ago. And so now there's someone who is giving these women this same woman's face. So I think that's kind of the premise of it. Very intriguing. Next, I got Rosie's Traveling Tea Shop, mostly because of the cover. This is a woman who, I think it's probably a pretty typical premise, which is the woman has everything and then she comes home one day and she finds that her husband has been having an affair and is leaving. And so she is heartbroken and devastated, rightly so. And she has too many glasses of wine and she wakes up the next morning to discover that she has purchased a bright pink camper van to travel the country. And I love the camper van idea. I love the idea of a traveling tea shop. I've actually heard about this one, and I love this beautiful HarperCollins UK edition. So for $1.75, This was definitely coming home with me. The next one, I don't know that much about, but I did love that someone thought that this book was worth having a Mylar cover on the dust jacket. This was also $2. This is written by Arthur Haley. He is well known for a book called The Final Diagnosis of American Hospital Life. He's also a playwright, and this one is set in New Orleans. I think it is a family saga over like a couple generations of the family. So I thought the cover was lovely. And again, someone thought enough of this to put a Mylar cover on it, $2. And if nothing else, it's a great piece to just sit out somewhere as like a conversation piece for, sitting up on a shelf, face out, where somebody can say, oh, what's that? Because it is, I think, very attractive and noticeable. I got the Golden Tales of New England. This is edited by May Lamberton Becker. I got this because of the illustrations by Lois Lenski. Love that so much. Love Lois Lenski. So these are 22 different stories. So it's like a collection of short stories. And Lois Lenski does these black and white pencil drawings. I also just loved the cover. I really think this is going to be a book that I pick up next winter when, again, as a palate cleanser, when I don't necessarily want to be reading anything that is super complex. I just want to be able to pick it up and read a little bit in front of the fire. Here is a short story, for instance, in here by Louisa May Alcott, all about tales of New England. So I'm wondering if Henry David Thoreau is in here, or Nathaniel Hawthorne. Yes, so we've got Nathaniel Hawthorne, we have Henry David Thoreau, Harriet Beecher Stowe, Oliver Wendell Holmes, Louisa May Alcott, obviously, and others. So I'm looking forward to picking this up next winter. Love the cover. This one was also $2. This is The Plague Court Murders by John Dixon Carr. He actually, I think, wrote this under the name of Carter Dixon. And John Dixon Carr was a writer in the American Golden Age of Mystery. And it says on the back that he was the only American author to be included in England's legendary detection club during his lifetime. So for $2, I definitely want to try this. This is a publisher that I am not that familiar with. And it actually has a discussion guide in the back. And it's actually, like on the back it says, it's eerie, atmospheric, devilishly puzzling first novel in the Sir Henry Merivale series. So I like that it's the first in the series. And love this creepy cover. My guess is that I will be picking it up next, let's say, November. I found a Dana Girls book. In April, I started a whole Vintage Girl Sleuth series here on my channel. And I talked about the Dana Girls in that very first video because these are written by Carolyn Keene, which we have since learned was not actually one person, but a conglomeration of multiple people that were hired by the Stratemeyer Syndicate. This one is number 16 in the series. The reason why I love the Dana Girls is because it's actually two sisters. It is set at a boarding school. There's actually like an arch enemy nemesis who is actually really like puts them in danger. I feel like the mysteries are compelling. So to find this, I was excited. I will say that it was expensive. Do you want to take a guess? Guess how much it was? I paid $15. But everything that was at this store, the proceeds all go to missions work around the world. And so it felt fine paying $15 for such a beautiful book. So that is the Dana Girls. So the next bunch of these, I think, were all from the same store. And it was $2 for paperbacks and $3 for hardcovers. So I got this Magic Hour for $2. This is a Kristen Hanna. I have liked most of the Kristen Hannas that I have read. I did not like The Great Alone. That one went right into the go to the Little Free Library or donate to our library bookstore. I can't remember which. The Winter Garden, I also donated that, but that is one that I think about often. And I have also thought if I ever see it out again in the wild, which I know they're out there, I might grab it just to have it because as annoyed as I was at the ending of that, I do think that it is quite thought-provoking. So thought-provoking. Firefly Lane, I think, has its place also in being a book that is worth your time to read in certain instances. And I have not read Magic Hour, so I am looking forward to this. This is also set in the Olympic National Forest out in Washington State, which I'm hoping to be out there at some point this year. So I'm going to put this in my stack of books to read out west. Hopefully, I like this better than The Great Alone. Sorry for those of you who loved The Great Alone. This one was a wild card that was a cover by. This is 5/4 of the Orange by Joanne Harris. She wrote the book Chocolat, which I do not read. I don't even think I've seen the movie, but I know that her writing is really beautiful and well received. So this deals with the German occupation of France. There was some tragedy that happened in a small town. There is a woman that gets blamed, and years later her daughter returns to that town. It talks a lot about food, texture and shape and scent of bread and cake, fruit and wine, thyme and olive. I think there is a complex story here, and I am looking forward to reading her prose. I think it is, quite beautiful. Next, I got Anne Patchett's Bel Canto. This is a book that I've heard many people say that I should read. I did not like The Dutch House at all. That was one that I did finish it, but I have since passed it on for someone else to enjoy. But I loved Tom Lake so very much, specifically the audio book that is recorded by Meryl Streep. I love it so much. So I've heard Bel Canto is worth the time, and I know some people really hate deckled edges, but I am not one of those people. I don't mind at all. And I do think that this book is beautiful. It's got this foiling. I don't know if you can see it in the sun. Even the spine has foiling. So I grabbed that. Don't mind me, I'm just organizing the books. Okay. I grabbed Envious Casca by Georgette Hare. I have actually read this a few Christmases ago. This is a holiday party setting, and since I did get it from the library, I did not have it on my shelf, so I was super happy to find this. I have a whole eclectic collection of all the different kinds of Georgette Hare publications, so this will match in and among the ones that I already have. I found this, The Gabriel Hounds by Mary Stewart, in a downstairs used book section in the back of a very overwhelming antique shop. It was one of those places where there's paths and there's just stuff, and it's like a labyrinth of antiques. And I know some people love that, and I think in some instances I do, but this place was kind of more creepy than enthralling. But I scoured the shelves and I found this. There was no price tag on it, so I went up front and the lady gave me a price for it. Do you want to guess how much I paid for this Mary Stewart? It's got this dust jacket. I think the hardcover is more like plastic covering, if that makes sense. Beautiful. Let's see, what year is it? So this is a 1967 version. I love the cover so very much. Do I have this book already in an omnibus Mary Stewart where I have 2 or 3 other books that are bound with it? Yes. So did I need this? No. But really, did I need this? Yes. Yes, I did. So 1967, I paid $6, which I thought was fair. More than fair. This is the author's note at the beginning. This story is freely based on the accounts of the life of Lady Hester Stanhope. It sounds like she goes to the Arabia Desert. She goes to Syria, Lebanon. So she says she wants to thank all her friends from Edinburgh to Damascus. So we are traveling with Mary Stewart in this. And again, I'm totally in love with this beautiful watercolor type dust jacket. So that is The Gabriel Hounds. This was a total, I don't even know if I'm going to like this. This is Mastering the Art of French Murder, an American in Paris Mystery by Colleen Cambridge. So I have read Colleen Cambridge's Agatha Christie spin-off books that she's done. I read the first one, which is The Mystery at Malawan Hall, which is the property that Agatha Christie lived at with her second husband. So I know that, Colleen Cambridge writes like modern mystery, but kind of what's happened in the past. I really think the sprayed edges on this are what sold me. I just noticed this is a Once Upon a Book Club book. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. We've got this beautiful cloth cover. Lovely. But the Murder at Malawan Hall is the Phillida Bright Mystery Series. So this is a different series. So we got the Agatha Christie's that she wrote. This one's Julia Child. Although Julia and Paul Child, along with Julia's sister Dort, lived in a 2-level apartment at 81 Rue de la Université in Paris in 1949, Tabitha Knight, her messieurs, and the deadly events depicted herein are complete figments of the author's imagination. So we will see. Who can resist a beautiful book like this at those used book prices? Certainly not me. Here is the next one that I got, which is Barbara Taylor Bradford. I am currently on a kick to find the authors that I remember my grandmother reading. She would go to used book sales. She would get certain authors, and Barbara Taylor Bradford is one of those authors. Since I found this used, I don't know anything about Dangerous to Know, but I do know after finding this and kind of feeling like I want to read some more of the authors she loved, I'm going to be on the hunt for Barbara Taylor Bradford. So let me know if you have read any Barbara Taylor Bradfords, if you have recommendations, if you've heard of her. Again, this would be during late 80s, early 90s that she was reading Barbara Taylor Bradford. Yeah, so this one's 1995. We've got 4 different points of view. Look at Barbara Taylor Bradford. She's lovely. And I love this watercolor cover. So again, when you're getting them at such good prices, I'm going to bring them home. Put them on a huge stack. The books that I got here, the prices were also $2 for a paperback and $3 for hardcovers. We've got Death on a Summer's Day. This is a Benedict Brown series. This is the first book in the series. He states very clearly in his author notes and in the back matter that you can read these books out of order. The thing that's nice is he has so much information in his back matter about his research, and then he's got the most interesting things he's discovered while researching, which is like multiple pages long. And then he also has words you might not know. He also has a character list. So Benedict Brown is really serious about making sure his readers know what's up when they pick up his book. And I'm here for that. So I think the main thing is if I'm looking for summer books, which at this point I have so many summer books, but we'll just add this to that list. This looks perfect to read in the summer. Obviously not just because of the title, but then like the picture. So this is a majestic road trip across England, filled with stunning landscapes, incredible sights, and the odd dead body along the way. So, set in the 1920s, and I will be happy to read this first one and maybe just start reading through the series. I've read this already, but look at this cover, you guys. So this is the Jane Austen Book Club by Karen Joy Fowler. This is also a movie that I remember enjoying when I watched it, and I don't have this on my shelf. I feel like these strawberries are looking really shiny, so I'm wondering if they like shellacked them for the photograph to make them look wet. Nonetheless, I still love the cover. The short description is there are, I think, 5 women and 1 man that join a Jane Austen book club, and it has sort of the typical drama of unhappy relationships and pain, and having them all get together to talk about this book club and start to share life together and help each other as they're like healing through the pain of life. So that is Jane Austen Book Club, just to go onto my shelf. Next, we're going to do one that I have put on my Thrift Books TBR and then sort of lost the thread on it. This is Clara and Mr. Tiffany. This is the alluring lost story of the woman who created the famed Tiffany glass lamps. So just really quickly, It's 1893 at the Chicago World's Fair. Louis Comfort Tiffany makes his debut with a luminous exhibition of innovative stained glass windows, which he hopes will honor his family business and earn him a place on the international artist stage. But behind the scenes in a New York studio is the free-thinking Clara Driscoll. Last, our library has a used bookstore, and they did a blind date with a book. So I had asked a couple weeks ago, because I saw a blind date with a book at the indie bookstores, if other people were nervous about buying them. I feel nervous about buying them brand new because the prices are so high. But since this is a good cause, which is it goes to the library and just helps, it's like Friends of the Library. They only ask for a $5 donation. Again, all for a good cause. I thought I would just get this. We'll find out what it is together. So this says adult fiction, detective and mystery fiction, kidnapping, California, resilience as a personality trait, published in 2021. So let's see what this is. Do we have any guesses? Am I going to be scared? When the Stars Go Dark by Paula McLean. A powerhouse of a novel that is guaranteed to keep the reader up all night. Yikes. Oh, you guys. Nowhere does it say thriller. It just says atmospheric novel, intertwined destinies. So anyway, she moves to Northern California. So the question is, can I read this and not scare myself sleepless? Can I do it? Let me know. Have you read Paula McLean? Is somebody who doesn't read thrillers going to be scared out of her mind if she reads this? Let me know. We've got 17 books that I've shared with you today that I have brought home. So let me know what of these you would move to the top of your TBR, and also let me know what I left in the store that you think I should have brought home. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time.